Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey guys, welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur. How are you doing? Happy Sunday. Sunday, right? Let me double check. Yes, I think it's Sunday. It is January 10th, 2021, and let's jump into it. My name is Heather Hope. Thank you for being here. And so I'm going to jump into a formal introduction. I think I already did. So this is a daily podcast. If you're new here, welcome. I have been getting several new subscribers every day. So this channel is growing. By the way, this podcast, if you're listening to it on a podcast, I do post it every morning on my YouTube channel. So that's what I'm referring to subscribers. So, welcome. I talk about the law of attraction and business primarily, but love and other stuff too. But I wrote this book called The Inspired Entrepreneur. It's 366 days of inspiration for the entrepreneur. You can flip to any day and the universe will give you a message. It's kind of like a fortune cookie. It's a short and sweet message of a reminder of something that you probably need to hear in whatever moment that you flip to it. And this podcast is the daily expansion on that. Oh, speaking of expansion, I think that's what we're talking about today. Yep, it is. Okay, so January 10th, if you have the book, let me know. The link is in the description and you can find it on Amazon. It's a really big book. It's like 400 pages. I love it. It's helped me numerous times when I flip open. Even before it was published, I would go into the Google Doc and I'd read a few days. Like if I'm struggling with something, I'll feel inspired to open up the doc and I'll read a few days and it's literally exactly what I need. It's just the law of attraction, your inner guidance guiding you to what you need to hear, in that moment. So it's amazing. So I've been really happy about this book because it has helped me tremendously. Okay, so let's jump into it. January 10th, more of the same is not what you came here for. I don't think that's grammatically correct, but okay. More of the same is not what you came here for. You came for more. Expansion. You came for expansion. Okay, so the last couple of days we've been talking about if you focus on your current situation all the time, you're just creating more of your current situation. Now, if your current situation is exactly how you want it and everything's going wonderfully and just super massive abundance is flowing into you and you have everything that you desire, perfect. Just keep focusing on that. Because if you keep focusing on what you have, you will get more of it. So if situations, now, a lot of times in our lives, like some areas are going really well and some areas are not. And some areas, like sometimes all the areas are just gone to crap, right? And sometimes, occasionally, maybe, sometimes all the areas are going great. So actually, I took a nap this afternoon. I was doing some work earlier and then I took a nap. I wasn't feeling well. So I laid down. My husband laid down with me and he was giving me massaging my neck and my lower back because they were both achy. And so we basically fell asleep for a couple of hours. And then I woke up because I'm like, I really wanted to go get lottery tickets because I missed them last night and I wanted to do it tonight. So I was inspired to get up and go do that. And so we were driving through town. And I was remembering back the first time that I drove through the town that I live in several years ago, probably like 7 years ago. I think I originally moved here. And kind of like exploring the area for the first time. And I was with someone else at the time. I was with my ex-husband. And so here I was just driving through town tonight with my current husband. And I was really thinking about how really grateful, really good things are. And for the last several, I mean, I think about this often when the subject comes up on relationships. Like if I'm watching something on TV with relationships, anything like that, when I'm watching dysfunction, like kind of like the average, I really, tonight I was like, I really need to write a book on relationships because, you know, I mentioned it the other day that I've been stuck on 90 Day Fiance. You know, in the past I've said that I should have been a sociologist because I get kind of fascinated with people and cultures and what people do and all this stuff and like kind of like Sister Wives. I have watched so many, like almost all of the seasons, not anything really current because we just don't have cable anymore, but um I can be glued to that excuse me, because I'm fascinated with people and their relationships, I suppose, or I tend to. And so when I watch some of these dysfunctional couples and the things that they say, I sit here cringing and getting annoyed, which then I probably need to turn it off, right? Because then I'm out of the vortex. But I'm sitting here listening to these messages, like this belief system of it's just hard work. Marriage is really hard work, and you really have to work hard, and you have to compromise, and you have to just change everybody. And all of these messages that, at least in this culture, in American culture, it's like that's just pretty much standard. If you watch enough TV, enough reality TV, or whatever, right? Or talk to people. And I remember falling into that when I was married before because my marriage before was really hard. It was really hard. It was a hard relationship. And the message around, you know, around is that relationships are hard and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the truth for me was I truly don't believe I this was the only relationship that was this hard in my life. I've had numerous relationships, very long-term relationships that weren't that hard. And the biggest thing is finding somebody that you're compatible with, finding somebody like attracting basically, right? Somebody who you get along with, that you share common values, common, you know, mindsets, common like that your personalities don't clash. So when I was married before, um, goodness gracious, we just it's kind of like, and I see this on 90 Day Fiance, I see it on other shows, all this stuff. I see it all the time with relationships of like, okay, these are the things that I want, and I want you to change into that. And I sit here wanting to pull out my hair because I'm like, no, okay, I remember being that person. I fell into that trap with my ex husband because I wanted him to be a certain way, but he couldn't achieve it. Um, like I didn't want him to be an alcoholic. I didn't want him to a list of things that I didn't want him to be. But that's who he was. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted him to change. And it's absurd. So I see this all the time and I'm like, no, you know what's easier than trying to change your partner? It's so much easier just to find another partner that doesn't need to change. Like that's just so much easier and so it's so good. Let me know if you're in a relationship, if you're married, whatever, and if you have an amazing relationship that it's like it's just so good because you guys get along and it's just because that's what I have. My husband and I get along so good. We are so compatible. We never argue. Like we never do. We just don't. It's just not even a thing. We're so compatible. We're so like he's very easygoing, which is huge because some men or some women, a lot of them, right? A lot of men, a lot of women are not very easygoing. But I knew I needed somebody easygoing. My ex-husband was not easygoing at all. He was very rigid. And so that didn't work with me because that just didn't. But so anyhow, Anyhow, let's get back to why I'm even bringing this up. So, driving through town tonight, thinking back 7 years ago of when I first discovered, this one street with looking at the grocery store, and it flashed back to my mind. And I was like, God, what a different, like, I'm so at peace now. Like, driving with my husband, my husband now, his name is Roger, by the way. Um, like, it's just so, I want to say comfortable, but that sounds kind of like not the greatest word, but it's just so like there's comfort. There's no angst ever. I was anxious all the time around my ex. It's just, walking on eggshells all the time with him. And this one, it's so easy. It's easy. It's so easy. And we laugh every day, and we joke around all the time, and we can have serious conversations about events in the world. We can do all these things. We have like a little bit of sarcastic humor with each other, and we love it. And we have all of that. And I am so grateful and appreciative. And like, I am so, I have to remember, like I remind myself of this lately because I'm watching dysfunctional relationships of people just trying to change each other. And I'm sitting here like, been there, done that. It doesn't work. And it ends up in divorce. And the easier route to go is to start over. I honestly believe this because you can't change other people. And just let people be. Let people be who they are. And you get to decide whether you want to be with them or not. Not that, well, I want to stay with you, but you have to do these, 10 things. You have to change into a different person. And it's like, why do that? It's just easier to find someone else that you are compatible with. There's what, 7 billion people on this planet. There's someone out there. Anyhow, this is not a relationship podcast, but so going back to let's go back to the message today. More of the same is not what you came here for. You came for more. You came for expansion. So if the areas that are going really well, focus on that and appreciate it. That's the point of that, of like, my relationship has been going strong since it started. We've been together for, how long? 3.5 years now. 3.5 years we've been together. We've known each other since 2009. We've been friends ever since. And we've been going strong. We've been married 1.5 years now. And I am reminded that things are going really well. And I'm just so thankful for that. And so focusing on that, because that's going well, right? Abraham tells us, focus on the areas that are going really well, because a lot of times what we do is we focus on the areas that are going to shit, basically, right? We focus on like the worry of money or whatever. So I was driving through town and I'm just like, I remind myself, focus, Heather, on the here and now and what's good right now. So I'm just like looking around, looking at whatever beauty is around, and the moment that this is a really nice, peaceful drive and all is well. So anyway, it was just a reminder. So the expansion part, here for more, right? You're here for more. So you don't want to do, now this is something that I love as a reminder, like having kind of like a daily routine. I break up my routines all the time because I realize that I personally don't like monotony. I don't like, being bored. I don't like doing the same exact thing every single day. And I know I'm not alone in this, because what I hear from Abraham is we're all like that. We don't like listening to them. They're like, you don't want to eat lunch with the same person every single day. You don't want to do the same thing every single day. Now in our culture, right, a lot of us go to the same job. Now I don't, of course, but I did. We go to the same job day in, day out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out, right? It's like, and, we take the drive every morning, the drive every evening to and from work. But if you're an entrepreneur, same thing applies. Like, doing the same thing every day. When I have to do the same thing every day, I just don't like it for very long. So and I talk about it a lot that now I'm doing many different things throughout my day, many different businesses, many different things. So not every day is the same. That's for sure. It's like, some days I do the podcast, some days I do some other things. I'm just, whatever needs to be done each day is what I do. And it's a variety of things. And so because I know myself now, I know that I don't like doing the same thing every day. And I don't really like even having one business because it just gets monotonous. I don't like I just closed my group coaching program. I had it for a year and a half, and I was doing our live calls weekly. I did that for the first like 7 or 8 months, weekly calls every single week. And I started getting really, really bogged down with that. I just didn't want to do it every week. And so I started moving things around. I started changing the program. I changed the program every like 2 to 3 months to something a little bit different. Like I went from Zoom calls to Facebook Lives, back to Zoom a couple times, and then back to Facebook Live. And, moving things around, doing what's it called? Different ways of doing Facebook Live, or a couple times I brought people on to actually speak, to do the coaching, and then I didn't like that. So I put it back to Facebook Live. I switched things up so it would fit me, because if I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't want to do it, right? So, and a lot of times we're taught to cater to our clients, but the thing is, when we cater to our clients, we can get burned out. And if I'm burned out, it just doesn't benefit my clients, right? So I learned through Abraham that I have to be in alignment. I have to do what feels good for me. That's why my program kept changing. And because I just didn't like certain aspects of it. So then eventually, after over a year, I realized maybe I just don't like coaching anymore. And so, yeah, so I stopped coaching, and I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying not being on the hook with people, not being so involved with people's lives, and people not, doing the work, and, stuff like that. Just, I'm not involved. Like now I'm writing and publishing books and speaking up, or doing a podcast. So, you can take whatever you want or take whatever you need. And I don't have any idea. So it's not mixing my vibration. It's not, I don't know what to say with that, but so anyway, so the point of today is you came for more. You want expansion. And it's okay that if you find yourself bored with what you're doing, mix it up. You have to, because you don't have to do the same exact thing every single day. That's what burnout it'll lead you, because you want more. You're here for more. You're here for fun. You're here for excitement. You're here to expand. So allow yourself to expand. Keep following your inspiration. Follow the thoughts that you have with doing more, doing something different, changing things up when you feel like it. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about the people around you. They will conform. Like my group was fine. Even through all the changes, I think I lost like one person who just didn't like the format that I changed. And I couldn't do anything about it. I just couldn't, because I had to do it for me. If I didn't do it for me, because it was just taking too much for me. It was just the way I had it. When I was doing Zoom calls, my calls were 4 to 5 hours long. That's really insanely long. And after doing that every week for, weeks or months, I got burned out with it. I really got burned out, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I think I lost one client after I moved from Zoom to Facebook Live. And you know what? It's just, it is what it is. I had to do it for me. And I just stopped having too much concern about everybody around me, because you can't make everybody happy. The only person you can make happy is yourself. Period. That's it. That's all I know. Oh, that's the other thing about relationships. I hear this constantly, that men typically say that I'm here to make your life happy. I'm here to make you happy. And so ever since my husband and I got together, knowing what I know, is I tell him, and every so often I remind him when I hear something stupid being said on these shows, I'm like, no, because it's up to me whether I'm happy or not. And so you can't make me happy. You can't, like, nobody can make me be happy. I get to decide whether I'm happy or not. And you will go crazy trying to get somebody to be happy. Like, that just doesn't work. So when I hear these people, like the women, or it's typically, right? It's typically women who say on these shows, I'm just using these reality shows that as an example, but they typically say, you know, and it's all conditional. Like some of these women on these shows are just ridiculous anyway, but, and I'm not saying men are not ridiculous, because they are on these shows too, but just in a slightly different way. But all the shows are just ridiculous anyway, but I find some humor in it. And I told Roger tonight, I'm like, yeah, I could write a whole book. The 17 episodes of this one season of 90 Day Fiancé, I could write an entire book on relationships based on the examples I'm hearing from or seeing from this. But, nobody can make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. And I told him from the beginning that it's not his job to make me happy, because he would say that. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not your job. You'll bend over backwards. And he would, to make me happy. And so I told him, it's not your job. You're off the hook. It's not your job. Just be a good person, which he is. And I decide whether I'm happy or not. And that's it. And it just makes life so much easier. Like, he's not on the hook for anything. And I'm not on the hook for anything either. It's just, we're just good people who treat each other really well. And that's all, that's it. And he decides he's a happy guy, and I am a fairly happy woman. So, I have my moments. But anyhow, back to today, more of the same is not what you came here for. That's so grammatically wrong, right? You're just here for more. You're here for more. You're here for fun. You're here for excitement. You're here to see as much as you possibly can see and experience as much as you can experience. So allow yourself to. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go because I got to cut it short tonight, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.